Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Sunday live stream. I unfortunately have to start with a little bad news before I welcome everyone. I give you the occasion to get yourself together. It's no, not that bad, but it's about the EU videos on Outside Views. I said it was a test. And I have to tell you that it will be the last one tomorrow that is finished already. But then I will not do the EU videos on this channel anymore because, as we would say in German, not so many are willing to look over the edge of their plate. That's how we Germans put it. And if I continue like this for longer with the views of these videos, that would harm my channel. And so I will have to take them off this channel. But I saw that a number of you is really interested in what's going on in the EU, and that not only people from other places but also some people in the UK are indeed still interested, and as much interested as in the past. And so I have thought long about this, and I will put them back on my magazine channel. That was my European channel anyway, and there's a lot going on with the reporting on the war of aggression against Ukraine. But I thought about this, that I still can combine this without getting off topic. So the EU is supporting Ukraine a lot, and so I can regularly give updates on that as well. And so from Tuesday you will find the EU videos on the magazine channel. I will update from Tuesday on my video descriptions as well, so you can see that there. But I wanted to get away with the bad news before I say hello to everyone, because that was nagging on me a bit, and unfortunately I have to do this. But now it's my pleasure to say hello, Katrina. Hi, Chatty. Hi, Joao. Hi, Roseanne. Hi, Legend. I just put it. Hi, Helen. Hi, Sock Juice, or hi, Maria. Hi, Roisin. And I hope I got everyone. And yeah, Maria, I saw your question, and that will be part of this video today. I can tell you that. So I have to start with another negative thing though, because today, as you can see behind me as well, I can leave out that topic because the British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly already said something about this. Because the British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has indeed criticized the attacks on Israel from the Palestinian Gaza Strip. And Great Britain, as many others, but on this channel, Great Britain unequivocally condemns the terrible attacks by Hamas on Israeli civilians. That is what Cleverly said on Saturday already on the short message service X. You all know this as Twitter still. And he said the UK will always support Israel's right to self-defense. And according to initial reports, a woman was killed and 15 people were injured in massive and surprising missile attacks from the Gaza Strip on Saturday morning in Israel. Here in Germany, I hear much higher numbers at the moment, unfortunately. Hamas declared the start of a military operation against Israel with that, and Israel then put the country on war alert, as the army announced. And as I said, here in Germany, I heard much higher numbers. I heard about hostage taken and everything. And of course, when it's about Israel, you know that I criticize the government in Israel a lot, but I do not criticize the existence of Israel. And there's a big difference here. And of course, they have the right to self-defend. And Cleverly and our foreign minister and the United Nations, meanwhile, etc., are all on the same page here. This is another aggressive attack that is not justified. And of course, I cannot leave that topic out on my live stream when it is happening on this weekend. But I hope to get the mood a bit up in the rest of the live stream. That's why I put it in the beginning. I want also everybody to be aware of this. Some people that were away for the weekend and had a good time and everything, didn't watch news, might not have been even known what's happening there. And so I wanted to get it into everybody's mind that something is going on. And if you want more information, please watch the news. It will be all over the news at the moment. And also, hi Luke, I have to say. Haven't seen you for long, have I? But thank you for coming. I hope the little Commodore will go to sleep while I'm talking. Legend, that's what I said. That were the numbers when Cleverly gave his comments, and I said here in Germany I hear much higher numbers at the moment. That's why I said that, and that's why I made it different here. Oh, Maria, you know him? Well, I do trust my members a lot, Maria, you know that, and so that is sorted. I will definitely bring that topic up. And the EU will definitely have to say something about this during the week. The EU will definitely do something, and so on the magazine channel next week it will be, I'm quite sure, a topic about the support of the EU for Israel here, and so the topic will not be a one-timer. But I want to get back, of course, to our general topics here, and Sock Juice has given me something during the week as a topic for today that I wanted to do, of course. And the question was, is Keir Starmer breaking the Good Friday Agreement with his declarations? And Sockjuice told me that Keir Starmer has declared that he will not call a border poll for unification in Northern Ireland if he becomes Prime Minister. So in this case, on behalf of the British government, he would also block a decision in Ireland with that. And Sockjuice asked, what would the EU do in a case like that? He would be breaking the Good Friday Agreement. Well, let's start with the Good Friday Agreement as well. What's really in there? And I know where you're from, Sockjuice. I'm so used to Sockjuice, so please forgive me, even if you changed your name a little bit. That's just what I'm used to from all the months before. The 1998 Belfast Agreement, that is what we know as the Good Friday Agreement, sets out the provisions for a border poll. That's a referendum on whether Northern Ireland should remain part of the United Kingdom or join with the rest of Ireland to form a united Ireland. And there are some important things in there. A border poll can be called by the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland if he or she believes, at the moment it's a he, that a majority of voters would support a united Ireland. The Secretary of State is legally obliged to call a border poll if a majority of members of the Northern Ireland Assembly vote in favor of one. So here is already an answer for Keir Starmer being able to do something or not. And a border poll can also be called if the Secretary of State believes that there is a clear and sustained majority of public opinion in Northern Ireland in favor of a united Ireland. So we have two cans, but we have one must. Keir Starmer can rule it out for the can parts because it's really hard to decide, especially with the numbers we have seen. And the last big surveys, to be honest, I've seen are from 2022, and they are not in favor of unification. So unless there are a lot of new surveys that show something different, and we know that the demographics are changing in Northern Ireland, they can always stay away from the can part. But Keir Starmer cannot rule out holding a border poll if Stormont decides on one. But we don't have a government in Northern Ireland at the moment, and maybe Starmer is counting on the DUP blocking that for the whole time of his government. Who knows? Because if Stormont doesn't vote on a border poll, Starmer can legally prevent one. Because with the both can hold one parts, there's always a way to legally stop that. So the only absolute possibility for a border poll is if Stormont votes on one. If there is a border poll, it must be held in both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland at the same time. And the point is the same time. And that's why Socjuice is right by saying that if he can block it in Northern Ireland, he will automatically block it in Ireland as well, or in the rest of Ireland and the rest of the Emerald Isle, or however you want to put this. But if there is a border poll, a simple majority vote is required in Northern Ireland to approve a united Ireland. And if a majority of voters in Northern Ireland vote in favour of a united Ireland, the Secretary of State must initiate negotiations with the Irish government to negotiate the terms of unification. And the Belfast Agreement also states that the consent of both the people of Northern Ireland and the people of the Republic of Ireland is required for any change in the status of Northern Ireland. That means that even if a majority of voters in Northern Ireland voted for a united Ireland, the unification process cannot proceed without the approval of a majority of voters in the Republic of Ireland. But all the polls I've seen, and even new ones, will show the same. There is a gigantic majority in favor of unification in the Republic of Ireland. The Belfast Agreement does not specify how frequently border polls can be held, but it's generally understood that border polls should only be held if there is a significant and sustained change in public opinion on the issue of Irish unification. Although the public opinion there on this one is, if Stormont would vote on it regularly, the Secretary would legally have to do the polls regularly again. So there's a little bit of an edge in the whole thing. But of course, since the signing of the Belfast Agreement, there has not been a border poll yet. But there is a big debate about it. But as I said, all the opinion polls I've found are so far not in support of unification in Northern Ireland. But we all know that the demographics have changed. And so I'm quite sure I will see one in my lifetime. And I'm not the healthiest, so I will not be 120. And Socjuice, I hope I gave you a clear answer on that one. And that it was satisfactorily that you got your answer on that. So Keir Starmer cannot completely rule it out. The other one was that Keir Starmer would campaign in Northern Ireland on the Union side. Well, and with that he's free to do, because that is the thing for the parties to take their stand on the issue of unification, yes or no, that they want to. It's the decision of the people if they will vote parties that are saying we don't want unification, we don't want border polls. But of course in their manifesto they can write whatever they want, as long as it's legal. And the thing to say we want to keep Northern Ireland in the Union is of course legal. So if he puts that in the manifesto and that they would run on the issue of keeping Northern Ireland in the Union, that will be completely legal and legit. But it's up to the people in Northern Ireland then to decide if they would vote for a Labour Party doing that. But Labour is a big topic at the moment anyway. I mean, I talked a lot about the Conservative Party conference. Labour has started theirs already. I put it in the end of the video, but I can mention that already. And they will talk about their manifesto. So, and what Keir Starmer is running with. I really sincerely hope that Keir Starmer would give us some answers on a lot of questions we still have, especially on Brexit, and what he's promising there, for example, how he wants to do this, but I don't expect that to happen. But I'll keep you informed, of course, during the week if I find any answer there. But I wouldn't be so, let's say, hopeful, because the best chance for Starmer is to do nothing and let the Tories make more mistakes. That's his biggest chance to win. And unfortunately, he knows that, and unfortunately, that's how he's acting. And unfortunately, sometimes he's acting like the Tories with empty promises. I talked about this several times already on this channel with regard to sorry, I just need to get rid of another. Sometimes the good thing with live streams, you find them more easily than in the comments under the videos, because a lot of comments are blocked, and I don't have the time to go through thousands of blocked comments, as I said. And so sometimes you find them here. But we were at the Labour strategy, and it worked, at least in Scotland last week. Because the signs do point to political change in Britain, and that was indeed shown by a by-election in Scotland. And party leader Starmer, of course, when he wins something, he says it's a seismic moment, but I guess he said that at the last by-elections as well. But is this a seismic moment for British politics? Well, as I said, this is at least how Keir Starmer sees the victory in an important by-election to the British Parliament in a Scottish constituency. The victory of the Social Democrats over the Scottish National Party is also a setback for the independence movement. And furthermore, it's a further indication that Labour is on course to replace the Conservative government in London at the next election. I don't know if you all know, but on Thursday there was a by-election in the Glasgow district, and now my Scottish friends, please don't kill me again for the first word. I hope it's right, but I just can pronounce it the way I think it is, of Rutherglen and Hamilton, or Rutherglen and Hamilton West, and that was made necessary after a former SNP MP lost her seat due to misconduct. And Labour candidate Michael Shanks beat SNP candidate Katie Loudon by a margin of almost 10,000 votes, and that's quite a number. There's significant swing in voter favourability given Labour its second Scottish MP in Westminster could signal that the dominance of pro-independence supporters in Scotland is coming to an end. That's at least the opinion of experts. The SNP, as you all know, has dominated the political landscape in Scotland, which until then had been a Labour stronghold. Since the Scottish independence referendum in 2014, it was an SNP stronghold. But we must be honest, this is only a small step back for Labour, because until 2015 it was the traditionally dominant party there. And then a year after the Scottish independence referendum, they lost 40 of their former 41 Scottish seats, and they all went to the Scottish National Party, the SNP. But the 58.6% for Labour there is indeed a reason to be happy for them. The last time the party achieved such a result in the Rutherglen and West Hamilton constituency was 13 years ago. In 2010, 60.8% of voters voted for Labour. And there was nothing similar, for example, in the 2019 elections. And without them, that meant that Labour could no longer achieve an absolute majority in the British Parliament. But since the surprising resignation of former party leader and head of government Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP poll numbers have indeed been falling. And they are indeed still advocating for an independent Scotland. The problem is that they, in many, what they say, connect the elections with the independence movement. I think the idea of the grassroots movement and taking more time would have been the better choice. And the result of this by-election is also the verdict of Scottish voters on numerous problems within the SNP. And you know that I favored the SNP on the topic of independence all the time, but that I'm not too close to their everyday politics. But at the moment, there's also kind of a general dissatisfaction with the SNP government, and they instead often blame Westminster. But another point, of course, for a big win against the SNP in that constituency could have been the reason why it was vacant anyway. Because that only happened because of serious COVID rule violation by the previous SNP's MP. And most recently, the focus was on the police investigation into the party's missing money as well. And those are headlines that never help a party. And I had to talk about the questioning of Nicola Sturgeon, the husband, by the police as well here and so on. And the succession fight and the dirt that was thrown there, Hamza Yousaf won in the end, but there was a lot of dirt fighting there that didn't help either. I'm quite sure about this. And the dispute over an attempted change in the law to abolish the need for medical reports on gender transition damaged the party. You know that I am supporting the rights of trans people all the time, and nobody should get that wrong. But of course, there must be a balance in the law about how it is affecting the people. I know a lot of trans people, and I'm talking regularly to trans people also about politics. And there's a discussion here in Germany as well, how to adapt the law that is too strict at the moment, but what our government was planning was far too loose. And so you have to find a balance there, and you can discuss that openly. And I personally also think that the SNP went too far there, but London just blocking a law there was not a good thing either. They never did that before with the devolved government. So there's a lot of issues that had nothing to do with anything Labour related, so to speak. And Katie Loudon, that ran for the SNP this time, was previously a district representative in the regional council, and she got only 27.6%. That is 16.6 percentage points less than in the 2019 national election in that constituency. And they need to work on the voters' trust as well, not only the Tories, but also the SNP, unfortunately. But we will see how they will end up in the general election. I hope they can work it out a bit, because everybody knows Starmer has spoken out against another referendum on Scottish secession, and that will still be a topic in the next general election. And you know that the general election is due probably late 2024. They have to do it latest in January 2025, but I expect that it will be at the end somewhere in 2024. But Labour will have to win a lot more constituencies in Scotland as well if Labour wants to win. And so they really do have to hope that they can repeat the Rutherglen and Hamilton West election result there, because it's up for grabs then again, and elsewhere in Scotland. And now I really want to have a look in the comments if you have something to say about this. Okay, Katrina, thanks for clearing that up. I didn't go that much into the geographics there. I just got the thing with a Glasgow suburb. But sometimes we have to do that as well. Our state constituencies had to be readjusted as well, and now some constituencies that are within my city also include parts of the surrounding areas which belong to other cities. And so that sometimes gets complicated if you want to keep it kind of fair, that the same amount of voters is in different constituencies. And yeah. Oh yeah, just forgot the troll thing. Yeah, insulting me, why only so few people watch this live? She's not watching anymore, I'm quite sure about this, but it's really funny. She never looked at the live streams after I published them. It's when I started this time and day a long time ago for the first time before I had to take the break. I was absolutely aware that not too many people can be there live, and I never had gigantic numbers when I was live because of the time of the day, and if you think about what people would do on a Sunday. But it was always the case that a lot of people watched it after, and a few people who like to connect a bit and discuss a bit were there live, and that's absolutely fine. And honestly, for just restarting the live streams, I'm quite good with the results the live streams have afterwards. So, stupid people, sock juice, you're right. I always have to take my glasses off. This stupid long COVID stuff. Before that, I could do it. Now I need 2 glasses, but I'm not 80 yet, so I'm still fighting that one. Yeah, democracy movements are needed everywhere. As you know, I'm a bit more focused on the live stream today than I said last week because when this live stream started, the first prognoses for 2 state elections in Germany came out that are quite impacting the central government as well, the federal government as well, because more than 14 million people have voted today. And I will watch this when after the live stream with half an ear because I still have something to do. It's a very busy Sunday today. And I hope you won't kill me that I have to end a few minutes earlier than usual because I have to get on the next computer in time. Mugi, you know what I'm talking about. I'll see you there, I hope. And then I will hear with one ear the results. But I think that our right-wing extremists from the AfD will have some unfortunately good results there. Not close to other countries or other states where we're expecting a lot worse in upcoming elections, but still bad enough. Every vote for these guys is terrifying, and I often don't understand people why they do it, but unfortunately the mood is there at the moment. And I'm not happy about this. Okay. Okay, Roisin, thanks for that. Maria reminded me of having a look there. Well, I looked through a lot of things after I got the message, and that's the information I got here. Would be nice if you could send me names of experts or something in one of the comments tomorrow, or under this live chat that I can have can look them up, because I got what I told you, and I looked at a few sources this morning again, and that's what I got. So I didn't see anything about the campaign that could be forbidden, because you cannot. Otherwise, how do you want to explain the campaigns of the DUP if that was forbidden? They would be stopped by courts. And so I'm quite sure you cannot forbid anyone to campaign for the union. I'm sorry. But if you have some names for me, please put them in the comments. Then I will definitely look them up. Yeah, can we? I hope we can stay with that at the moment. Yeah, Roisin, but we are talking about Starmer's party running in a general election in Northern Ireland. That's what Sockjuice told me, that he would have Labour in Northern Ireland run on the ticket of keeping the union. And so it would be kind of the same. But you mentioned some experts, so please put the names in the comments later. So I will look them up, I promise, and see what's going on there. If they don't contest seats in Northern Ireland, then Sockjuice will have to give me a hint what she meant with the comment she sent me, because that's what I answered on. So I really have to do something on the timing of posts, but that's an anti-troll mechanism, that there's a time limit when you can post your next comment. But there's one thing I definitely wanted to talk about today. That's why I put it on the thumbnail already, because I haven't talked about this and what the Brexiteer Press wrote last week for a reason. They wrote, the Daily Express, first of all, loyal to Brexit despite all the evidence, as you know, wrote, Bank of England boss finally admits Project Fear Brexit warnings were wrong. And I found them all over the place. I found this quote everywhere here in Germany. But there's a point why I saved this for my live stream. Because let's talk about what Andrew Bailey really said. It was a very long interview he gave, and this headline is what the Daily Mail and the Daily Express and many other newspapers took out of it. And I just picked a few very important parts on this. If you reduce the openness of an economy in the short run, it will have negative effects. It will have a negative effect on productivity. It will have a negative effect on growth. I'm afraid that don't need to take my word for it. You can go back to Adam Smith and David Ricardo. That's the point about openness. If you go back to the period after the referendum, they were pretty dire predictions about the consequences of Brexit for the financial services world, for the City of London. And I think so far, those effects have been smaller. Now, that's not to say that I trivialize them, discount them, and ignore them. And I remember saying the week after the referendum, this means we will have to work even harder to make sure we don't become isolationists. So the Bank of England has had to work hard to offset the consequence of Brexit, which as a result have not been as dire as predicted, he said. And the Bank of England believes that some regulations that the EU introduced were not perfect for the UK. It's now taking advantage of the opportunity to reform them. But they have had to work like slaves to minimize the Brexit downsides to keep much of the industry there. For me, there's hard to see the glowing praise for leaving the EU in what Bailey said there. And he said the consequences were not that dire, but you must not forget that the whole clearing stuff is not over. There are still a lot of transition periods running in the background. You know from my videos at least, also that's not the banking part now, but a very prominent example, the tariffs on electric cars. Has all not happened yet. And like the missing checks on goods coming in from the EU to the UK, there's a lot of Brexit consequences still to come. But the fun part, that they are still doing what they always did with lying, it's still there. So people still have to be very careful not to fall for that step. I think it was yesterday, I still got comments on the trade deals with the 6 US states under comments. They obviously haven't seen my video on that, But they are still letting that circle around. And they are still believing that. Yeah, it's a memorandum of understanding. It's not a trade deal. Trade deals can only be passed by Congress, and the president has to agree. And so it will happen in Washington if they do that, and in Washington as the capital, I mean, and not the state of Washington. And so they still are doing that. And they're still not getting that Brexit has not even fully happened. It will not fully happen for a long time. And Andrew Bailey didn't lie in his interview. Yes, the consequences have been not as dire as predicted, but most of the predictions were made before Christmas. You know, this famous Christmas. Everything looked like a Brexit without a deal at all. And you don't even want to imagine what that would have looked like. We see some of this, but not all of this. And because of the deal, a lot of things have not even happened yet. And that's why, of course, it is not as bad as the predictions were. And then COVID slowed a lot of things changing down. There were a lot of delays in transitional periods there. So we have a lot to expect still. Brexit is long from over. And the consequences are not there yet. What we've seen was just a glimpse of what's coming. And if you think that's bad now, then wait for the future. Oh yeah, and the nice thing with the Britain is doing so much better than the EU and whatever. That was the good thing about my videos on this channel about the EU as well. I mean, they will be on a different channel, but they wouldn't have watched them anyway. You will remember my video on the Eurozone and the inflation, for example. Yeah. First of all, there on my newest channel, there is a nice hailing from one starship to another. You can do that. That's the doctor from Voyager. He's holding an apple and he's holding a pear. Well, in this case, I would give him an orange because people are comparing apples and oranges. If you, in a certain global economic time, compare a service-based economy with an industrial export-based economy, you are not very bright there in the first place. And secondly, have you ever looked at our government here in Germany in the last 2 years? I mean, I don't know the numbers yet. As I said, I will know the numbers later. But definitely, they are getting a kick tonight for what they did in the last 2 years. And it's not a surprise that the German economy is not doing well with such a government. But that is everything but a sign that Brexit is not harming the UK. This is homemade. And our government is not lying as much as some Tories are. We just have some people who cannot remember what happened in the past when they are asked by committees. They have kind of, what's the word I'm looking for now? Amnesia. But still, it's not good for our economy, what happened there recently. And so these comparisons are just ridiculous. And if you look at other countries in the EU and the EU overall, the Eurozone overall, it's not that dire. And when they start talking about inflation and say, when inflation goes down, things are not getting cheaper, they are not going more expensive as much as before. No, that's not always true. We have a lot of things here in Germany that are even becoming cheaper at the moment because the inflation went down faster than the companies thought, and they priced in a higher inflation expectation before. And now a lot of things are getting cheaper here in Germany. They're not getting more expensive, they are indeed getting cheaper. there was a last wave of meat prices here in Germany. A lot of big supermarkets are taking them down. Meat is getting cheaper in Germany, as I earlier told you about milk and a lot of other things. So things are indeed getting cheaper here. From my friends in the UK, I always hear about the prices going up. And if you want a real measure, then there it is. Because the prices have not even ended, at least everything they want to buy that comes from the EU. And a lot of the food in the UK is imported from the EU. Wait for the checks when the governments finally put them in place, as they should have done years ago, if they do it. I don't know if there will be more delays, but we will see. Nevertheless, it's always funny to how some people are arguing. Yeah, and Germany is investing ridiculous amounts of money. We do here in my hometown as well, where you know that I'm in voluntary politics, and especially in building housing and stuff like that, and plus the green transition, we are investing loads. And our city budget is already 1.5 billion euros. So you can imagine the town is it's called one of the major cities from that size, but it's not for long not as big as Cologne or something. But we already have a budget of 1.5 billion, and so you can imagine how much we invest as well into housing, into the green transition, and so on. We just had a new regional plan that went through our councils about the next housing areas and stuff like that, how it's supposed to be done, what is reserved for housing, what is reserved for ground PV. Oh, I come to that in a second as well. And I will skip there. I just want to mention before, I have to skip 2 topics, but I just want to mention that I also wanted to talk about Rishi Sunak's plan to ban smoking. That from a certain age you are not allowed to smoke ever at all. Will be a lot of checking, by the way. And the ban on bringing mobile phones into class. But to be honest, a lot of others are doing both as well. So I didn't want to hit too hard on Sunak for that one. Although Boris Johnson did, so I should not forget that. Because Boris Johnson told this smoking apartheid that threatened everyone born after January 1st in 2009. Because child A will be able to smoke like a chimney until the end of his days, and child B, born just one day later, will be a criminal if he does. That's what Johnson wrote in one of his paper pieces now. I don't really want to know, I really don't know how to call that. But I was... a lot of other companies are doing that. The smoking ban thing already happened in Australia in a little bit different way. The mobile ban is something other countries are talking about a lot. I think the Netherlands have introduced a ban in July, or they introduced it in July, and that will take effect next year. So I think that is nothing unusual. And here in Germany, they are discussing that also. And the British government is also citing France, Italy, and Portugal as examples. So it's a matter of how you want to deal with this. So I didn't plan to hit the government big there. That's a matter really for discussion. Of course, a mobile in class is a problem because of cheating. But the smoking thing, as long as it's allowed at all, you cannot make a difference between people, because you cannot open up a 2-class citizenship there. So I have a different opinion there than Rishi Sunak. But what I wanted to skip to was why some people called Rishi Sunak detached from reality. because I read that Sunak plans to restrict solar panels or the installation of solar panels on, is it swaths of English farmland? And climate campaigners say that will raise the bills and put the UK's energy security at risk. And last year, when Liz Truss already attempted this, there was a lot of controversy about this. And those plans were indeed dropped when she left office. And it seems like Sunak is picking that up again. I know that solar panels in the countryside are disliked by many rural Conservative MPs. And I guess it was Therese Coffey that revived the plans to put the restrictions on this form of cheap renewable energy. And so that will be a problem. But we all know that the climate position of the Tories changed when the by-election in Uxbridge happened. And they saw that with the ULEZ topic, they could gain votes. And probably they will be working on this again. And now they try to play the food security against energy security. We have the discussion here in Germany as well. First of all, there is a way to have solar panels there and still grow food below them. And that's something that's done in Germany for quite some time already. And the other thing is, we are going a different path a little bit here in my state, because here in my state, there's supposed to be solar panels built along train tracks and Autobahn, so highways. I wouldn't want to eat food grown next to both anyway. And so that is quite an interesting plan, and we are planning on this here in my home city as well, and many other places in my state. And that, of course, makes sense. I wouldn't want to live too close to a rail track or to an Autobahn anyway. I wouldn't want to eat food coming from there. And so that is something where you don't waste land and where you can easily put up solar panels. So that is the way where you can still save crops, so to speak, but have your ground-based solar panels. And I don't know what you think about this, but I think that is really, really working on it. Yeah, guys, as I said, please put it in the comments after the live stream under the video. It will be a video there. This chat will be very hard to look into. So I cannot follow up on comments on 3 topics before. I'm really sorry about this, but I went through, and unfortunately we are reaching the end of today's live stream as well. As I said, I have to cut it a bit short. It's 10 minutes shorter than usual because this day was totally hell already, and it's not ended for me because I was so busy, and I'm still busy today, that I unfortunately have to look in the comments under the live stream tomorrow. I didn't have 5 minutes of quiet time this weekend, so it's a bit of a hell at the moment with all the work. And still, I'm always happy to see you. I'm always trying to do my best on your questions as well. And so I'm looking forward to your comments, and I will keep you informed about the other videos. As you know, from tomorrow there will be another EU one on this one, but on Tuesday I will start to make the changes, and then we have a good separation. And I hope nothing happened now to Katrina. Just seeing Verti's comment there. And I hope you have a nice rest of a Sunday. I will do some more work now, and we'll see you definitely again tomorrow morning. And for now, I will just try to work with my technology here, which is driving me crazy. I still don't get one thing done I want to do for my channel, but sometimes the programs don't do what they're supposed to do or what I would like them to do. But nevertheless, have a good evening and have a good night later.